What happens when a 65-year-old mother finds out her own son's been living large off her name for 20 years? What I did next, no one saw coming, not even him. I had just finished mopping the floor at the school, the same school where kids scream like the world owes them something just for showing up. You know the type. Loud, lazy, chewing gum like it's a career. And me? I'm the invisible woman in the janitor's uniform. Nobody sees me until they need someone to clean up spilled soda or scrub dried up glue off the desks. I'm 65 years old, and instead of knitting blankets or sipping sweet tea on a porch somewhere, I'm still pushing a mop. Not because I'm broke, but because I'm proud. I never wanted to be a burden. Not to my community, not to my family, and definitely not to my son. I raised that boy by myself, never asked for a dime. I'm not someone's project. I'm a mother. And you want to know the kind of person I am? That day, I stayed an extra hour after my shift. Why? Because I saw one little girl sitting near a dusty window, wheezing like a broken accordion. So I scrubbed every inch of that windowsill, thinking, maybe this'll help her breathe better tomorrow. Yeah, that's me. Call it foolish. Call it kind. But you better not call it weak. I came home dragging a heavy mop bucket, but my spirit was light. Until I stepped into my kitchen. There it was on the table, a thick envelope. Official looking, not a grocery coupon, not from a neighbor. Government seal. I opened it, hands damp from scrubbing floors for 10 hours straight. Social assistance report, quarter summary. Social. What now? Help? Ain't nobody helped me do anything in 20 years but God himself. Then I saw the numbers, benefits, payouts, deductions, my name in bold letters. I sat down. That money? It wasn't mine, but somebody was collecting it like it was Sunday tithes. Jamal, I called. He walked in slow, wearing some overpriced t-shirt I know didn't come from no thrift store. Sipping soda like he just got back from a cookout. Oh, that? He said, looking at the paper. I just filed something for you. You don't really get all that paperwork stuff, so I handled it. Handled what? I asked. My voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm you hear right before thunder hits. He shrugged like we were talking about pizza toppings. It's all legal, Mom. It's your name. Nothing shady. I went quiet. In that moment, I felt like a fool. Not because I didn't understand the paperwork, but because I trusted my son not to pull something like this. I wiped his tears. I held him through nightmares. I worked double shifts to buy him shoes he didn't even say thank you for. And now he's filing forms on my name like I'm just some signature on a dotted line? I stepped outside to breathe, to think. I needed air. That's when I saw it. A brand new black Dodge, parked in our driveway, gleaming like it knew a secret, with a shiny ribbon on the antenna like it just came fresh out the showroom. I froze, because I knew Jamal couldn't afford that. Not on his own. He wasn't working. He told me he was finding himself. Well, apparently he found himself behind my social security number, and there I was, standing in the driveway, one hand gripping a trash bag, the other holding the realization that my whole life had become someone else's side hustle. The next morning, I did what I always do, got up, tied my scarf, and headed to the grocery store. Because guess what? Food don't magically walk into your fridge, and retirement is a fairy tale they tell folks in commercials with sailboats and smiling couples who never had to scrub a floor in their lives. I was at the checkout, counting out nickels like I was in a math contest. I came up $2 short. $2. I sighed and started to slide the box of cereal back across the counter, pretending like I didn't want it anyway. And then I heard, Ms. Johnson, is that you? I turned. A woman in her 40s, sharp looking, clipboard in one hand, smile in the other. She looked at me like I was the guest star on the evening news. I'm with the Department of Social Services, she said. You're one of our clients, right? We've been sending you benefits for years. I'm sorry, what? She blinked, like I had just told her I didn't know what a dollar was. Your care allowance? Monthly assistance? Medical program? You've been receiving support for quite a while now. I almost dropped my eggs. And not from age, from shock. Ma'am, I said, I've never signed up for a thing. I work, always have. I haven't taken a dime from anyone. She tapped her little tablet like she was looking up a coffee order. Well, it's all right here, she said, turning the screen toward me. See, everything's listed under your name. I walked out that store with fire in my chest and shaking knees. This wasn't a mistake. Somebody had planned this. So I went straight to the source. Downtown, Office of Social Services, a place most folks my age avoid like the flu, and baby, what I saw in that office. Let me tell you, stacks of forms, all with my name. Signatures that looked like mine, but weren't. Payouts stretching back years. a copy of a driver's license with my name, a shadowed face under a baseball cap, and just enough smugness to make me want to flip a table. But I didn't need a DNA test to know who that silhouette was. I carried him 9 months. That was my son, Jamal, and he turned me into his personal business account. I walked out of that office feeling like somebody had slapped me with the truth. Not gently, hard, right across the soul. I came home, didn't even sit down. I looked that boy dead in the face and asked, Jamal, did you sign me up for all this? Behind my back? He didn't even pause his phone game. Didn't blink. Mama, don't start. It's not a big deal. It's just assistance. The government throws out money all the time. I just redirected it. It's still under your name. Redirected? Oh, so now I'm a bank transfer? You didn't just take my name, baby. You took my life. You filed my existence like a tax return. He gave me the most casual shrug I've ever seen. It's just numbers, Mom. You weren't using them. That's when something inside me froze. Not fear, not sadness. Something colder. Disbelief laced with betrayal. Because while I was scrubbing strangers' toilets, he was living large. No, on my name. This is the breaking point. Everything I worked for, everything I believed about my family of Shannon flipped in one moment. And now I had a choice to make. Stay and let it happen again, or finally do what nobody expected me to do. Stick around because what I did next put everything on the line. You know when elders cry? Not from pain, not from loneliness, but from something heavier, humiliation. It's when you realize the life you built with your own two hands was cashed in by someone you raised. But I didn't cry. Not that day. I grabbed a mop and cleaned my kitchen, top to bottom. Every tile, every corner. Scrubbed it until it shined like it owed me respect. And when the floor was spotless, I stood up straight, looked myself in the mirror, and said, You are not a rag. You are not invisible. You are a woman. You are a mother. And you've survived too much to let anyone, even your own blood, wipe their feet on your back again. I reached into the old wooden drawer, pulled out my real documents, crinkled and yellowed like my knuckles, and walked right down to the police station. The young officer at the desk looked at me like I was somebody's grandma bringing him sweet potato pie. He wasn't ready for what I dropped on his desk. Ma'am, are you sure you want to file this? He asked gently. I didn't flinch. I didn't stutter. I didn't blink. That boy stole 20 years of my life, I said. I'm just here to take it back. And I signed. Not with guilt, not with fear. I signed with the kind of peace that only comes when you finally put down the weight you've been carrying for too long. 3 days later, Jamal came home. No ribbon on the car this time. Just cardboard boxes, a bent head, and silence following him like a shadow. He walked into the kitchen and sat down like he was waiting for a plate. Not a reckoning. You really went to the police? I looked at him. Really looked. At the boy I raised, the man I hoped he'd be, the stranger he had become. You really lived off my name while I was out there scrubbing floors for people who won't even remember my name? He didn't say a word. Not because he didn't have one, but because he finally understood that mine was louder. You don't love me anymore? He mumbled. That one hit different. I walked over, sat beside him, and for a moment I saw not a man, but a lost child who got greedy with a honey jar and cut his hands on the lid. I always loved you, I said, but now I've learned to love me too. He didn't argue, didn't cry. He just reached in his pocket, took out the house key, and laid it on the table. Then he left. No words, no noise, just footsteps fading down the hall. And I stayed, with my cup of cheap tea, with my sparkling kitchen, and for the first time in decades, with my name finally belonging to me again.